Hi, this is Dennis Fassett, the Cashflow Mercenary. Welcome to another installment of Cashflow Mercenary Television. Well, I'm playing hooky today on July 2nd. I'm going to play golf. It's going to be a beautiful day, mid-80s, bright and sunny, not a cloud in the sky. What a perfect day for it. And by the time you see this, I will either be exalting my wonderfully low score or, on the other hand, drinking scotch to drown my sorrows in another, 47 over par day. Since this is the second time out for me this year, I'm voting on scotch. I'm betting on scotch. But again, that's not a bad consolation prize for a day's work at the golf course. Sure beats being in the office. Being July 2nd, I've seen posts on Facebook and Twitter here recently about kind of mid-year reviews and how things have gone. And I wanted to do kind of something similar here quickly. Kind of tell you about my year and what I've got planned for going forward, and find out a little bit more about what you have planned for this year. My year started with some very, very significant, very serious challenges. I've not been able to conquer any of them. They're still there. I've been able to hold them at bay, but not resolve any of them, and it's really frustrating. I put a couple of new things in place this year to try to address them. I switched some things around, shook things up, and one of them has just been an unmitigated disaster. I've not been able to get any traction on it, and that was actually my second choice. And so I'm going to have to decide here. I'm hemorrhaging some cash. I've stopped the cash drain, but I really need to decide, kind of figure out the next 30 to 60 days whether or not it makes sense to keep going on or just cut bait and find something else. The main thing I tried to do, though, was just talk about scary as hell. I got saved. My butt got saved because somebody made a really bad business decision for themselves. I was all ready to make a business decision early on in the year. I think back in late January, early February, and somebody else made a really, really bad business decision for them. Ended up saving my butt. I mean, I'd be in the soup line right now if they would have decided. Made a good business decision for them, I'd be in the soup line right now. And talk about scary as hell. It's absolutely amazing, and it still gives me chills to think about it, that I came that close to me. That I didn't know that it was a bad decision, but thankfully it turned out. Thank God it turned out fine. So, and we've gone forward and done okay since then. On the apartments and the rentals front, everything is going really well, actually. I'm all full pretty much. I had a couple of evictions this year, but that's to be expected. Things are going really well on the rentals. We did close the one private equity deal on U of D Manor. That went really well. The first checks for June are going to come out next week, and I'm sure we've got a bunch of happy investors, and the building is just going great. Now, the Grand Avenue building was one we had the fire on. That one is done. It's a done deal, and we are not going to pursue it. So. But I do have two other deals that are in process right now. Sibley and Linden, two of them we saw on the bus tour that I think will make great partnership deals as well. So again, things are going really well on that side of the house. I do have one interesting thing that came up, though, kind of the end of the spring, and that is I talked to a guy I know that had a germ of an idea, suggested I take a course of action, and I kind of pursued it, and I realized it was really something that might be this gap filler thing that I needed. And so I found a guy that could help me. I'm not the biggest on asking for help, but I didn't really stalk this guy, but I tracked this guy down, found out the right guy to use, tracked him down, and kind of bugged him until he's agreed to sit down with me and talk about it, and that's going to happen in a couple of weeks. So I'm hopeful that may be the thing that's going to fill the gap for me, this gap that I need to get filled, that'll help me conquer some of these issues that are still dogging me from January. But so that's positive. But what I wanted to find out from you, though, is how are things going for you? And have you had something like this come up? I know most of us do some planning in December for the year. I had 3 or 4 things that I wanted to get done, and I kind of told you how those are going. But it's interesting that a couple of new things that came up, and I was able to be flexible, and I really had the need to be flexible to pursue them. I'm wondering if you had the same thing. How have your plans changed from the beginning of the year? Are you still tracking on the same stuff, that you were in December, which is totally fine, or are you pursuing some new things, and does your second half plan look totally different than your first half plan? I'm just curious how that's going for you. And what are your plans for the second half? And is the second half going to be better or worse than the first half? I don't see things doing anything but getting better in terms of all the lines of business that I have. So I'm real bullish on the second half here and going into 2011. So let me know how things are going for you. I'm curious to know. This is Dennis Fassett, the Cashflow Mercenary. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will talk again real soon.